And hello again. Welcome back to one of our lovely session out loud and in the open. How do you cope without therapy? Yesterday I kept on and on about the lovely theory of mind and the Gestalt configurations in psychology. Today I decided that I'm not gonna dive too much into a couple of other theories, but I still have something for you that will probably put a bit more context and a bit more perspective and explanation around why it is that after a certain age we tend to become a little bit more mindful and actually a little bit more selective with what is it that we do, what it is that we choose to not just get involved into, but also to put effort in. Something that it is well and truly not very ciphered title, but there is such a thing in psychology that it's called the socio-emotional selectivity theory. And this lovely thing, actually, it's a lifespan kind of interesting take on things. It maintains that as time horizons shrink, as they typically do with age, people, us, each and every one of us really, people become increasingly selective and they increasingly start investing greater resources in emotionally meaningful goals, practical meaningful goals, or activities that tend to have instant pleasure. So, here we go, emotional and pleasure and instant. Who would have thought that all of these lovely things actually have a name on it, and there's a theory. Why are we so selective when time horizons shrink? Now, when we're young and restless and bold and beautiful and all of those lovely things, we tend to explore and go for adventures and want to see places, things, and experience and experiment and just discover, because we have this notion that future is open-ended, that I've got plenty of time, that I'm not worrying about careers, responsibilities, and all of those mature things. If you think back how you were when you were young and restless, well, I don't know about you, but I still have that little bit of a adventure spirit in me. I don't want to be involved in boring things. I want to see places. I still want to travel whenever the world will be open again. I just, as much as I do want the fulfillment of what all of these experiences can bring about, something shifts with every one of us, and now it truly is a much more selective take on things. I think again, if I want to invest time and effort in certain things or situations or people, even, we become much more aware of what, maybe not so much what we like, maybe do, but we become so much more aware about things we don't like, we don't want to have any of anymore. We purposely and mindfully stay away of things that cause us pain and with sorrow, anything that it's draining, anything that becomes time consuming, wasting time, anything that leaves you with a bitter taste, that not so much that you failed or that you lost, none of that. It's more a matter of, I could have done something else. I could have, should have, would have, but instead you have the feeling that you put so much in and it's just not there. So as you grow older and wiser sometimes, believe it or not, actually that would be a good thing. In my next video I'm going to talk to you about the wisdom theory, because there is such a thing too. But as you grow older and hopefully wiser, there is this obvious tendency for each and every one of us when it comes to our social interaction, our relationships with the outside world, as much as emotionally, and particularly the type of what motivates us, what it is that we willingly want to put effort in, that we want to give time to, that we want to invest time in. After all, believe it or not, coffee is a great commodity, but time itself, time given willingly, it's the best, the most precious commodity there is. The moment someone is willing to invest time with you, in you, it's the highest of anything else they could offer, anything at all. So when that perspective of days or future becomes more finite and the horizons shrink, as the theory talks about, we even get the feeling that time is running out. You start realizing, I'm not sure that we actually realize, I don't think that consciously we register the fact that we will cease to exist. The end, that time comes to an end. I don't think we actually grasp that. To a certain degree, there's still that sort of future goal, future motivation. I'm going to do this tomorrow, next year I'm going to do that, and in 5 years we're going to go do this, and by the time the little one is going to be 18, I'm going to do this and that and that. We always directionally have our lives geared towards the future. What selectivity theory, the social-emotional selectivity theory, is about is that all of these lovely things that we choose to put ourselves into, to apply ourselves towards, to get driven towards, is becoming more and more evident that they're all about much more into the present, much more into right now, much more into the instant. I don't think that you will find too many 50, 60, 70-year-olds that will say that, oh, by the time my grandson will be 18, I'm just gonna become this fabulous golfer. I don't know, it's just a silly example. But my point is that we start appreciating time. We start appreciating and remembering dearly sometimes those instant pleasures, just like when we were kids. Perhaps this is another psychological kind of model where people of old age tend to get along so very well with young kids. And there's a certain degree, maybe not of innocence, but of pleasure. There is the innocence in the kids. The innocence in the elderly is not so much innocence as it is the wisdom. I've been there, done that, and I've just discovered that eating an apple or enjoying an ice cream is the best investment of your next 3, 4, 5 minutes. So you put older people and kids together, and you get this kind of intertwined happiness that just comes through. And most of the times, I don't know about you, I don't know how your childhood was. I like to think of mine sometimes, and I remember climbing trees. I remember chasing ladybugs. I remember playing with my friends, and it was like the most extraordinary. It was the best day of my life, and I had so many best days while doing all of that. And it was now, with that wisdom of a 47-year-old, it was exactly that, the instant pleasure, the happiness that happens in the now. And that's not just so precious, but it's just fully fleshed, lived. And I think that is probably what we're trying to go towards, or invest ourselves in our own different ways, in our own different lives, in our own interpretation of how that joy and pleasure and happiness looks for us. In the end of the day, being selective and picking and choosing what it is that you want to invest your time in, it's an amazing wisdom that each one of us, I think, we have, and we can decide for ourselves. There's one of the thoughts, something else, that if you haven't had an ice cream, or you haven't climbed a tree, or enjoyed a bagel, think of this. You know that feeling when you go on holidays somewhere, or when you just go, you booked into a hotel, and you just got into your room, and you put your luggage on the side, and there's that feeling, there's that of spirit and adventure and full on, and you can't wait, and you just want to go and explore. And you always remember those little minutes at the very beginning. It's like being when you were a kid, when nothing else mattered. There were no worries, no nothing. That's not to say that being a grown-up is difficult or hard or annoying or sometimes painful, sometimes difficult to navigate, but also as my lovely friend here, Patrick Lindsay, says in his lovely book, Finding Beauty and 170 Ways to Look on the Bright Side. So you're going to hear a lot about this. Here's a little bit of a snippet that he talks about at page 82. And it is about finding beauty in today. Our lives come without guarantees. We don't know how many days we've been allotted, so we must make everyone count. We have no control over our past, nor any over our future. The logic is inescapable. Live in the present. Why not? Give it a try. You might like it. I think I do. Thank you so very much. I'm Gabriela, and hope to see you next time. Talk to you soon.